Hi, it's Jonathan Quail again, the Art of Letting Go coach and creator of the Art of Letting Go course. Just thought I'd say a few words to you before you make your final decision about whether to do the Art of Letting Go standard or mastery course. Firstly, to remind you about what I discussed in the webinar. The reason I'm offering the mastery course is that due to the nature of these exercises, I can't run Name Your Game and Blueprint for Your Higher Self exercises with more than 12 people. The Name Your Game exercise relies on each member of a small group giving personalized feedback to one selected person from the group at a time, a process that's repeated for every individual in the group, so it's quite time consuming. And the Blueprint Builder exercise is a follow-up to the Name Your Game exercise and can't just be run on its own for a larger group who haven't done the Name Your Game exercise first. So I'm sure you'll appreciate that doing the Name Your Game exercise for a group of people any larger than 12 is just not feasible, because it would take up too much time. I did actually think about running several Name Your Game sessions, but the logistics of getting potentially 10 or more small groups of people from all over the world to come together in an online meeting room at several different times over the course of a day or two during the course are extremely difficult. And then there's also the fact that, although it's extremely powerful, in fact, I'd say it's the most powerful transformational exercise that I'm aware of, because it helps you to see your ego's core identity and the specific game it plays to perpetuate that identity. The Name Your Game exercise is mentally and emotionally difficult for the people doing it. In fact, I'd say it's the most difficult exercise in the whole Art of Letting Go course. I've seen a big strapping man tremble just at the thought of doing it. Not everyone's necessarily ready to face the challenge that it presents. So I've decided to run the Name Your Game and Blueprint Builder exercise for a select group of 12 people as part of the Art of Letting Go Mastery course. It will run concurrently with the standard course. Don't get me wrong, there really is no shame at all in choosing to do the standard course because you feel you're not ready to dive into this level of transformation, or because the financial commitment is too great. And the standard of the standard course is still a very high one, so I can promise that it will stretch you and that you'll learn more during the course than you've learned in any other 6-week period of your life, probably. But if you feel the call to do the mastery course and decide that it is for you, you'll also get a number of additional benefits over and above the Name Your Game and Blueprint Builder exercises. Probably the most important of which is that you'll get 8 hours of one-on-one coaching time with me. It will really help you to get the maximum benefit out of the course and the Naming Your Game and Blueprint Builder exercises. By the end of the course, through doing these exercises and working through the results with me, you'll have identified your ego's particular core belief. You'll have formulated a blueprint for your higher self that undoes this false belief, as well as all its associated beliefs. And you'll have identified what specific purpose or vision will help you live according to this blueprint every day, help you systematically undo your ego. The Blueprint Builder exercise will help you to formulate a set of positive qualities or values that counteract your ego's weaknesses, in which you strive to live according to every day in very practical ways, as well as a higher purpose or vision that will challenge you to live up to these values when you pursue it. By pursuing your higher purpose or vision, you become a better person that is more in tune and ultimately one with your higher self. And this growth towards your higher self is the true process of transformation and the purpose of our lives here. A process and a purpose that offers authentic happiness, total fulfillment, and flow with life. All of which amounts to what I call true success. So the Naming Your Game and Blueprint Builder exercises are the key to finding your unique formula for practically living the profound teachings and ideas that you'll learn during the Art of Letting Go course. If you do the standard course, you'll still get the exercise worksheets for these exercises. But the group sessions and the one-on-one coaching with me are what make the exercises really hit home and give them the power to completely transform your life. I hope you can see how powerful this is, but just in case you're a bit skeptical, I'm going to share my own experience of doing these exercises and the higher self blueprint and vision that I developed and try to live up to as a result of the exercises. So I first did the Name Your Game exercise over 10 years ago. Since then I've probably done it maybe half a dozen times. The first time was definitely the most powerful and also the most difficult, mainly because the facilitator himself unexpectedly joined in when I was in the hot seat, and everyone in the group was helping me to see my ego's core identity and game. And what he said really pushed my buttons, because I perceived it as an attack on my core identity and also my fundamental spiritual belief in life, as well as an act of betrayal, because I'd helped him recruit over half the people who'd signed up for the workshop, which he was running as a kind of trial. And I remember this surge of anger arising in me as he quite harshly said what he said. And I had the intense urge to get up and take him on in front of all the people there, many of whom had been to my courses or workshops, where the central thing I was teaching them was forgiveness or letting go, which, needless to say, would not have been a good example of living my teachings, and probably would have discredited both me as a teacher and what I'd taught them in their eyes. Fortunately, my spiritual training and higher self came to the rescue and reminded me that I should just let this apparent attack and the anger it was stirring up in me go. So I took a deep breath, and as I exhaled, somehow I managed to let go of the angry, contracted feeling inside and the mental impulse to defend myself by attacking back. I just smiled at him and I said, "That is just your opinion, but thank you for sharing it with me." I passed the test in the heat of the moment, but it still took me a few weeks after that workshop to really process the experience and see the profound lesson that it offered me. I think it would have been a lot quicker and easier if I'd had a coach or mentor to talk to and help me work through what I was thinking and feeling, but I didn't, so it took longer and it was harder for me. But I got there in the end. So what did I learn from the experience? Firstly, that my core belief was that I wasn't good enough. Almost everything I'd done up to that point in my life was just an attempt to counteract this belief and the feelings of unworthiness, despair, and grandiosity that it produced. I could clearly see the pattern playing out in all areas of my life. Once you clearly see your mistake, you can start correcting it, which is what the experience I had during the Name Your Game exercise and the follow-up Blueprint Builder exercise helped me to do. I decided that the only way to really teach myself that I was good enough was to teach other people that they were good enough, irrespective of what they'd done or achieved, or aimed to do or achieve in the future. Up until that point, I'd run what I now call information sharing workshops, where I taught people some of the ideas and information I'd learned, but during the retreat, I opened my eyes to what transformation was really about and what it was possible to help people to break through to. So I started running transformational workshops and retreats where I taught people a lot of the transformational ideas and techniques like breath work and meditation, and I facilitated the Name Your Game exercise to help them identify their core ego program, flip this flop, and create a blueprint for their higher self, purpose and success. I've helped hundreds of people over the years to do this process in a physical group setting. And over the years I've grown into accepting that I am good enough to teach this to hundreds and potentially even thousands of people around the world. And so now I've taken the process online with the launch of the Art of Letting Go course, which really is the culmination of my entire life's learning and work. In fact, this course and the process you've been through to be watching this video now are a testimonial to the power of the Name Your Game and Blueprint exercises and all the other techniques that I'll be teaching during the course. And I doubt that I would be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't done these exercises. I've combined these exercises with the best of everything else I've learned about personal growth, transformation, spirituality, and spiritual practices, into creating what I believe to be the most transformational, mind-expanding experience that is possible in only 6 weeks. The Mastery course contains all of it, including the Name Your Game, Flip Your Flop, and Blueprint Builder exercises, plus a few other powerful experiential transformation exercises, a parent forgiveness exercise, a self-portrait exercise using a mirror, and a funeral exercise that I'm not going to elaborate on in this video because I'd like to surprise you just a bit during the course. You'll also learn some powerful breathwork techniques that I've learned over the last 10 years that can profoundly alter your mental, physical, and emotional state in seconds. If you have any problems with your breathing, and many people do, doing the 6 hours of breathwork training that are incorporated into the Mastery course will help you to sort those out, and that will have a hugely positive effect on your health, your sense of well-being, your energy levels, and your whole life. Even if you think you don't have any problems with your breathing, these kinds of benefits will come to you because most people are breathing very shallowly and they may be using only half of their lung capacity. So I'll teach you how to start using your full lung capacity in these breathwork training exercises. If you happen to exercise a lot, or you want to start exercising, but you always struggle to stick with an exercise program, or perhaps you're a serious or competitive athlete, then the breathwork training in the Mastery course will really work for you. Firstly, I'll show you how to enter a state of flow when you're exercising, even when you're doing quite strenuous exercise. So you'll really enjoy exercising. It will become a moving meditation rather than a slog or a chore where you're in a fight or flight response mode and you just fighting that feeling of exhaustion. And ultimately it will help you to double your performance level with the same level of effort, or perform at the same level with half the perceived effort. That takes quite a lot of work to achieve, but I'll show you the techniques that if you practice regularly while you exercise will get you there. You see, performing well, and most importantly enjoying your exercise, it's not really about improving your fitness using the no pain, no gain philosophy. It's about learning how to get your body and mind working in harmony and you in a state of flow. Getting into flow will do more for your performance and your enjoyment of the experience than hundreds of hours of hard physical training. It really is a quantum leap, both in your joy and your performance. And you'll see that flowing breath and an experience of flow really do go hand in hand, not just in exercise, but in your whole life. I want to talk briefly now about some of the other breathwork techniques you'll be learning on the Mastery course. And the best way to do this is by telling you a story. It starts in 2009 when I met an eccentric old guy in his 70s named Barry, by chance. There is such a thing, which there isn't. It was a case of synchronicity, in a print shop just around the corner from my yoga studio in Johannesburg. We got chatting, and within 5 minutes I'd told him that I'd learned to breathe through my nose when I was playing and training for squash professionally years earlier. He'd said that he learned some amazing power breathing techniques while training with the Monaco Olympic team 20 years earlier in Monaco, and he'd offered to teach me everything he knew about breathwork at no charge. This was an offer I couldn't really refuse. So I went to his house that Saturday morning and he taught me the power breathing technique that he learned in Monaco from the Monaco Olympic trainer, who'd learnt it from the head Russian Olympic trainer in the 60s and 70s. And one of the reasons the Russians won all the Olympic medals was not just because it wasn't just because they were doping, it's because they were practicing some of these advanced breathing techniques which hadn't quite reached the West yet. So after doing the power breathing together with another guy who was there, a serious triathlete, he said to me, "Jonathan, we're going to do something called Kriya Yoga now, which you might not be ready for, as we're going to be holding our breath for a long time. So I suggest you just sit this out and watch today." And then I said to him, "Oh really, that's interesting. "Is that the same Kriya Yoga that Paramahansa Yogananda taught?" And he looked at me in amazement and surprise and said, "You know about Yogananda?" And I said, "Sure I do. I've read his autobiography and he talks about it, about this amazing technique for accelerating your spiritual growth called Kriya Yoga in there. But he never actually tells you how to do it. Since I read the book, I've always wanted to learn how to do it, but I thought I'd have to go to India to find Babaji, the original teacher of it, to learn." And then he told me that he'd been taught this breathing technique by his guru, a South African guy by the name of Manny Fingo, who learned it directly from Yogananda in California. By the way, Yogananda was the guy who introduced yoga to America in the 1920s, and from there it spread to the entire Western world. So if you do yoga, you have Yogananda to thank for it. But yoga is not just about physical postures and getting a good physical workout, which is unfortunately what a lot of people perceive it to be in the West. It's really about the union of the mind with its source. Yoga means union in Sanskrit, the language of ancient India. And that's what Kriya Yoga is really about. In fact, in Autobiography of a Yogi, which is Paramahansa Yogananda's autobiography, it says that half an hour of Kriya is the equivalent of a year's worth of normal spiritual growth. Needless to say, I was very interested in learning this. So Barry and I started doing breathing sessions once a week where he taught me the power of breathing, and we practiced Kriya Yoga and a few other breathing related techniques. And I started practicing the Kriya once or sometimes even twice a day on my own. So I could soon hold my breath for a lot longer than should have been possible, which Barry warned me about, but I persisted because I was determined to see where the limits of this were, what the limits of holding my breath were. And eventually, after about 6 months, I could hold my breath for half an hour. And that sounds impossible, but it's not. I proved that it's not impossible, and actually there's many yogis who can hold their breath for much longer periods of time. So the impossible becomes possible when you start to practice these kinds of techniques. And Barry acknowledged that I'd taken it to a level of mastery that he'd never attained. So we practiced these breathing techniques together every week for several years, and this prompted me to start exploring breathwork as another transformational modality in detail. I worked with another guy called Dan Brule, who's one of the top breathwork teachers in the world, and I found that breathwork was a very, very powerful transformational modality, and that's why I've chosen to teach it as part of the Art of Letting Go Mastery course. During the course, the Mastery course, you'll be learning the power breathing and Kriya Yoga techniques, as well as 8 other powerful breathing techniques, including holotropic breathing. And you can read a couple of testimonials below about people's experience of doing this, which is almost always quite mind-blowing and transformational. In fact, I'd say it's the most powerful thing you can do in a single hour, in 1 hour, to let go of deep-seated, subconscious and energetic blocks and transform your mindset. So I've decided to include this in the standard course as well, because it's a great high, literally, on which to finish the course for everyone. So I hope this video has given you the information you need to make an informed decision about whether you should do the standard or the mastery version of the Art of Letting Go course. If you still have any questions, read the information on the page below. So you keep scrolling down, you'll see. And if you still have any questions after that, feel free to drop me an email. Just send it to jono@lifebuild.com. But remember that the 10% early bird discount, which amounts to £40 on the mastery course, is only valid for an hour. You've probably used up about 20 minutes of that already. Also remember that there are only 12 places from the mastery course that are going to be allocated on a first come first served basis. So don't delay. If the idea of mastery resonates with you and you like to do the mastery course, just click the button below this video or scroll down to the page to the booking form. Fill in your details and submit the form to sign up for the course. I look forward to welcoming you to the Art of Letting Go course, whether it's the standard or the mastery version of it, and to the Art of Letting Go club, or community. I'll leave you with the following thought on mastery by a lady named Justine Mass, just in case you have some reservations about the idea of being elite. And she said the following: people who become elite at what they do aren't striving to be elite just to join some special club. They take great joy and satisfaction in the pursuit of mastery, and they compete against themselves, not others. Thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to catching you on the other side.